"Lauren, will you marry me?" When Jordan said those words to me, I thought it would make me the happiest person in the world. And it did. But only for a little while. I dreamt about my wedding since I was a little girl. Not some royal fantasy with a castle and tiara. Mine was simple. A garden ceremony, white roses, soft golden light, a gentle breeze moving my veil. I even knew what song would play as I walked down the aisle, one from my favorite band when I was 16. Back then, I used to imagine that song playing as the love of my life waited for me at the end of the aisle. And after 7 years together, it was finally happening. Jordan and I met in college. He spilled his coffee all over my notes, panicked, and offered to retype everything. That's how it started. I always admired how calm and grounded he was, the complete opposite of my impulsive, emotional nature. He didn't just make me laugh, he made me feel safe. But after 7 years of dating, people started asking questions. When is he finally going to propose? Aren't you tired of waiting? I always smiled and said, it'll happen when it's meant to. But at night, I sometimes cried quietly, wondering if maybe he'd never ask. And then, one Friday evening, he did. We were having dinner at our favorite little restaurant, fairy lights above the tables, the same old piano player humming softly in the corner. I thought it was just another date night, but when the dessert came, Jordan stood up, walked around the table, and dropped to one knee. The whole room went silent. His hands were shaking, and so was mine. "Lauren," he said softly, "will you marry me?" It felt like time stopped. I remember the tiny gasp I made, the people at nearby tables smiling, and the way Jordan's eyes glistened with tears. I said yes, over and over again, until he was laughing and the restaurant was clapping. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ring, whispering to myself, "It's really happening." When I told my family the next morning, everyone was thrilled. Everyone. Except Maddie. Maddie, my sister, my complete opposite. She smiled, hugged me, said all the right things. But her eyes were sharp, tight, heavy. Like she wanted to be happy for me but didn't know how. She's 4 years older, more confident, more outspoken. And for as long as I can remember, she's been competing with me for things I never realized were a competition. Growing up, Maddie was always the one waiting for our parents to notice her, to praise her, to love her the way they loved me. She never said it directly, but I knew. Everyone knew. When I was born, I was sick. Really sick. I spent most of my early childhood in and out of hospitals. My parents devoted all their time to keeping me alive. Maddie, just a little girl herself back then, was sent to live with our grandparents because my parents simply couldn't handle both. She grew up feeling forgotten, and I grew up owing her something I never understood. When I got better, life went on. At least for me. Maddie stayed distant, even when she smiled. When I got good grades, she said I was teacher's pet. When I made friends, she said people only liked me because I was nice and quiet. And when I started dating Jordan, she said, "You always get the good ones." At our family dinner after the engagement, Dad laughed and said, "Well, looks like the younger sister's faster with marriage, huh?" Everyone chuckled, except Maddie. She just pressed her lips together and looked at her plate. Cody, her boyfriend, tried to make a joke to lighten the mood, but she didn't even respond. That moment stayed with me. The silence, the tension. It was like a shadow that followed me home. Still, I tried to shake it off. She'd come around, I thought. She always did. I threw myself into wedding planning like it was my full-time job. I made spreadsheets, Pinterest boards, color-coded folders. I wanted everything to be perfect. Not luxurious, just meaningful. I chose early autumn for the date. That soft, golden time when summer isn't gone yet, but the air feels different. I imagined white chairs, candles, music floating in the background, and Jordan smiling at me like I was the only person in the world. I was so wrapped up in my plans that I barely noticed when Maddie started changing. She and Cody had been together for almost a year. Not long, but long enough for her to start comparing. She began posting hints online. Some people just get lucky faster. When you know, you know. And then one evening, Cody called me. He sounded nervous. "Hey, Lori, I need to ask you something." "Sure," I said, smiling. "What's wrong?" "It's Maddie. She's been talking about getting engaged, a lot. She's pushing me." He sighed. "I love her, I do. But I don't know if she wants it because of me or because of you." I didn't know what to say at first. I felt guilty, like my happiness had somehow become her pain. "If you love her," I finally said, "then don't wait, but only if you want it. Don't do it just because she's pressuring you. Otherwise, she'll never forgive you." He exhaled. "You're a good person, Lori. Thanks." I didn't think much about it after that. Until 2 weeks later, when I saw the photos. Candles, roses, a string quartet, a rooftop view. Cody had proposed, and Maddie said yes. The pictures were everywhere, her laughing, crying, kissing him with the skyline behind them. It looked like a scene from a movie. I was genuinely happy for her, but when she called me the next day, her voice had that familiar tone, sugar-coated and sharp. "Well," she said, "looks like my proposal was a bit fancier than yours." I laughed softly. "I'm really happy for you, Maddie." But inside, something stung. It wasn't about the candles or the violin or the rooftop. It was about the way she needed me to feel small, even in my happiest moment. I told myself it didn't matter. We were both engaged now. We were both happy. But deep down, I knew. Maddie never shared happiness. She competed with it. And I had no idea yet that her next move would destroy everything I'd been dreaming of since I was a little girl. If I'd known what was coming, I would have paid more attention to the small things, the tension in Cody's voice, the way Maddie's smile looked rehearsed in every new wedding photo she posted. But I didn't. I was too focused on planning the happiest day of my life. After Maddie's engagement, it felt like we were finally equals, two sisters walking toward the same dream. For the first time in years, she called me almost every day. But our conversations were never light. They were full of comparisons. Her dress designer, my venue, her photographer, my menu. It was always who had better, who did it first, who did it right. I tried not to let it get to me. Jordan used to smile and say, "Let her compete, sweetheart. You already won." But I wasn't trying to win. I just wanted peace. Still, there was something different about Maddie's engagement, something that didn't quite add up. Cody wasn't like Jordan. He was kind, sweet, but he didn't have much money. He worked hard, but he wasn't in the same position Jordan was. And Maddie, she wanted her wedding to look like a royal event. Designer dress, floral arches, live band, champagne fountain, the whole thing. I knew how expensive that kind of dream was, and I knew Cody couldn't afford it. A few weeks after their engagement, Cody called Jordan asking if he could stop by one evening. When he arrived, he looked tired, pale, like he hadn't slept for days. He waited until Maddie wasn't around to talk. "Jordan, Lori," he started, voice low, "I really need your help." Jordan leaned forward. "Of course, man. What's going on?" Cody rubbed his forehead. "It's the wedding. Maddie, she wants everything to be perfect, and I get it, but..." He stopped, looked at me embarrassed. "I can't afford it. Not all of it. I've tried to reason with her, but every time I say, let's keep it simple, she takes it as an insult." I felt bad for him. I'd seen that side of Maddie before, stubborn, proud, unwilling to compromise. Jordan nodded, thoughtful. "So what are you asking for exactly?" "I just need some time, alone. I'll pay it all back within 5 years, I swear. I just can't tell her. She'd never forgive me for borrowing money from you." I looked at Jordan, unsure what to say. He smiled a little, the way he does when he's already made a decision. "Cody," he said, "we're practically family. Don't worry about it. I'll cover the checks. You focus on Maddie and keeping her happy. We'll sort the rest later." Cody's eyes widened. "Wait, are you serious?" Jordan nodded. Absolutely. Consider it a wedding gift or an investment in the future. And listen, there's a position opening at my company soon. I can recommend you. It'll help you get on your feet faster. Cody looked like he didn't know whether to cry or hug him. Jordan, I don't even know how to thank you. You'll thank me by keeping Maddie happy and staying out of trouble, Jordan said with a grin. I smiled, proud of him. Jordan always had a big heart. Too big sometimes. After Cody left, I asked, "Are you sure about this? It's a lot of money." He shrugged. I know, but it's just money, Lori. He's a good guy. And Maddie's your sister. We can help them. I kissed him, grateful. You're amazing. He smiled, but there was something in his eyes, a flicker of doubt he didn't voice. For a while, everything seemed fine. Maddie bragged about her wedding plans, about how Cody was finally stepping up, and how they'd have the wedding everyone would remember. I bit my tongue. She had no idea how right she was. People would remember it, but not for the reasons she imagined. Every time she mentioned the budget, I felt uneasy. I knew where that money was coming from. I knew how hard Jordan was working to make everything perfect for me while quietly funding her dream at the same time. Sometimes I thought about telling her, but Cody's words echoed in my head. She'd never forgive me for borrowing money from you. So I stayed silent. I convinced myself I was protecting her, that some truths did more harm than good. I didn't realize then that secrets like that don't stay buried forever. They rot. They twist people. And the one between us was about to do exactly that. September 14th. That was our date. The perfect Saturday I'd dreamed of since I was a little girl. Early autumn, when the air is crisp, but the world still feels green and alive. I pictured sunlight breaking through the trees, a soft breeze moving my veil, the scent of roses in the air, and the music I'd loved since I was 16 playing as I walked toward Jordan. 3 months before the wedding, everything was ready. The venue, the catering, the dress, all chosen. Everyone knew the date, even if the invitations weren't printed yet. I wasn't worried. It was all in motion. Then, one morning, my phone rang. It was my friend Claire, sounding cheerful and a little too excited. "Lori, I just got Maddie's wedding invitation. You two are doing it on the same day? That's so fun." I froze. The same day? Yeah, September 14th. I thought it was like a sister thing. You know, double celebration? The room started spinning. I could barely hear her voice. Wait, Maddie's wedding is on the 14th? Yeah. Different venue, obviously, but same day. I thought it was planned. My stomach dropped. Claire, I said slowly. I didn't plan that. Her voice went quiet. Oh, I'm sorry, I just assumed. After we hung up, I just sat there, phone still in my hand, pulse thudding in my ears. She knew that date was mine. Everyone did. It wasn't possible this was a coincidence. I called Maddie immediately. She answered almost too fast, her tone light. Hey, Lori, what's up? I swallowed hard. Why didn't you send me an invitation to your wedding? There was a small silence. Then she said, Guess you'll be busy that day. For a second, I couldn't even breathe. Maddie? What are you talking about? You already had your date, she said carelessly. So do I. You didn't send out invitations, so technically the date was still free. Maddie, I said quietly, you knew. You were there when I told everyone. You knew it was the 14th. So what? She snapped. You don't own that day, Lori. People get married all the time. Maybe if you'd been faster, this wouldn't have happened. My voice shook. How could you? Please, she said, laughing coldly. You're making this dramatic. It's just one day. Not for me, I said softly. She paused, then almost tauntingly, Well, I'm not changing my plans. You can move yours if it bothers you that much. And then she hung up. I sat there in silence. The air in the room felt heavier, like it was pressing down on me. I didn't cry right away. I just sat still, trying to understand how my own sister could do something like that. It wasn't just about a date. It was about what it meant. that she'd rather ruin my joy than let me have it. I spent the rest of the day trying to distract myself, checking lists, organizing flowers, pretending I was fine, but my heart felt like glass. Then, that evening, another message arrived in my inbox. It was from the band, the one I'd dreamed of having at my wedding since I was 16. The band I'd told Jordan about 1,000 times, how they were part of my dream since before I even met him. The message was polite, professional, and short. Dear Lauren, we regret to inform you that we've been booked for another event on September 14th and will no longer be available for your wedding date. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. I stared at the screen for a long time. No explanation, no suggestion for another date. Just booked. I didn't even know who took that slot, but somehow it still felt personal, like the world was pulling pieces of my dream away, one by one. That's when I broke. I slid to the floor, still holding my phone, and cried until I couldn't breathe. All those years of imagining that moment, gone, replaced by something bitter and heavy. When Jordan came home, he found me there, eyes red, hands shaking. She took my day, I whispered, and now the band canceled. He knelt beside me, pulled me close, and said softly, "Hey, it's okay. She can't take you. She can't take what we have. We'll still have our perfect day, Lori. I promise." I nodded against his chest, but I didn't answer, because deep down something told me this wasn't over, and I was right. The next morning I drove to my parents' house. I didn't plan what to say. I just needed to be somewhere that still felt safe, or at least used to. When my mom opened the door, she looked surprised. "Lori? Honey, what's wrong?" I tried to smile, but my voice broke before the words came out. Maddie scheduled her wedding for the same day as mine. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she sighed. Not shocked, not angry, just tired. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm sure it's some misunderstanding." "It's not," I said quickly. "I called her last night. She knew. She said she doesn't care." Mom touched my shoulder gently. "Lori, you know how your sister can be. She probably didn't mean to upset you. She just wants her day, too." I felt my chest tighten. "She could have picked any day, Mom. Out of all the weekends, she chose mine." Before she could respond, Dad walked in from the kitchen reading glasses in hand. "What's going on?" Mom sighed again. "It's about the wedding dates. Seems both girls picked the same one." He chuckled softly, as if it were amusing. "Well, isn't that something? 2 weddings on one day? What are the odds?" I stared at him. "You're not serious." He raised a hand. "Lori, calm down. It's not the end of the world. You didn't send invitations yet, right? Maddie probably just thought the date was open." I felt something inside me twist. "Dad, everyone knew my date. I told you both months ago. We even talked about the weather that weekend." Mom nodded hesitantly. "That's true, dear. But still, you know how Maddie is. She gets emotional. Let's not turn this into a family war. We'll talk to her, okay? Maybe she'll agree to reschedule." I wanted to believe them, but their voices sounded careful, almost rehearsed, like they were trying not to take sides. "Okay," I said finally, though my throat burned. "Just, please talk to her. I can't do it again." Mom smiled softly and kissed my cheek. "We'll handle it, darling. Don't worry." But I did. I worried the whole drive home. I replayed every word Maddie had said on the phone, every sharp laugh, every "you can change your plans." I wanted to trust my parents. I needed to, but I also knew how easily they gave in to her. That night, I sat in bed scrolling through my wedding folder, trying to focus on something beautiful. Flowers, music, the dress fitting next week. But my phone buzzed, and when I saw Mom's name, my heart sank. Her voice was soft, too soft. "Lori, sweetheart, we just spoke to Maddie." I already knew what was coming. "She doesn't want to change her date," Mom said. "She says she's already sent all the invitations. It would be complicated to move everything now." My voice cracked. You promised you'd talk to her. I did, Mom whispered. She was very upset. You know how fragile she can be. Maybe you could move yours instead. You still have some time. People would understand. For a moment, I couldn't speak. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it. You want me to reschedule my wedding, I said slowly, because she refuses to reschedule hers. The one she planned after mine? Lori, please don't make this harder, Mom said softly. We're trying to keep the peace. Peace? I almost laughed. You're asking me to give up my wedding date so she doesn't get mad. That's not peace, Mom. That's surrender. There was silence. Then finally, I asked the question I shouldn't have needed to ask. If I don't change it, whose wedding will you go to? For a long moment, the line was quiet. I heard her breathing, slow, uncertain. Then she said the one thing that broke me completely. We'll fix it. Just wait, darling. And then the call ended. I stared at the screen, the words echoing in my head. We'll fix it. But deep down, I knew this wasn't something they could fix. Because the moment my mother couldn't answer that question, I realized something terrifying. She wasn't choosing between two wedding dates. She was choosing between two daughters. A week later, the invitations finally arrived. Ivory paper, gold edges, the exact shade I'd chosen months ago. Soft, elegant, timeless. I held one in my hands for a long time before mailing them out. It should have been one of the happiest moments of the whole process. Instead, it felt hollow. I tried to convince myself that once people saw the official invitations, it would all settle, that maybe Maddie would come to her senses or someone would talk to her. I was wrong. 2 days later, the calls started, then texts, then emails. Lori, just checking. Is your date really the 14th? We got Maddie's invitation for the same day. Are you two doing a joint wedding? Should we bring one gift or two? Every new message felt like another cut. I answered none of them. Jordan tried to distract me, suggested we go out, take a walk, get some air. But I couldn't. I stayed home, surrounded by color samples, receipts, and lists. Everything that once felt magical now looked meaningless. My dream wedding, the one I'd imagined since childhood, had turned into a cruel joke. I didn't even cry anymore. I just stopped feeling. And for the first time since Jordan proposed, I wondered if maybe some dreams aren't meant to come true. 2 months before the wedding, Maddie and I still weren't speaking. No calls, no texts, no, let's fix this. Just silence, heavy, uncomfortable silence that hung over every family conversation. Then one Sunday, Mom called. Her voice was calm, too calm. Lori, darling, can you come over for dinner? Just family, nothing serious. I should have known better, but I went. I wanted to believe she finally understood how much this had hurt me. When I walked into the house, the smell of roasted chicken and lavender candles hit me. Everything looked perfect, too perfect. I took off my coat, turned toward the living room, and froze. Maddie was there. She turned around, just as surprised to see me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she crossed her arms, that same smug expression on her face. Seriously? I said to Mom. You didn't tell me she'd be here. Mom forced a smile. We just wanted to talk, all together. You're sisters. You can't go on like this. Dad gestured for us to sit. No shouting, he said firmly. I stayed standing. There's nothing to shout about. Maddie took my wedding date and that's it. Maddie sighed dramatically. Oh, here we go again. Mom looked between us nervously. Maddie, please. Lori, let's just talk calmly. Dad turned to Maddie. Sweetheart, you knew about Lori's wedding date, didn't you? Maddie's jaw tightened. For a moment, she said nothing. Then her eyes filled with tears. You're all against me, as always. Against you? I whispered. You did this. She turned to Mom, ignoring me completely. Do you have any idea what it was like growing up with her? Everything was always about Lori, her health, her happiness, her future. You barely noticed me. I was just the other one. Mom's face fell. Maddie, we did our best. You know how sick Lori was. Oh, here we go again, Maddie snapped, voice rising. You keep saying that. Do you know what it's like to be 8 years old and shipped off to grandma's because your parents are too busy with the perfect child? Mom's eyes filled with tears. That's not fair. Fair? Maddie laughed bitterly. You never cared about fair. You cared about Lori. Always Lori. Dad tried to interrupt. Maddie, that's enough. But she wasn't listening. Her words came out fast, shaking. You want to talk about trauma? Fine. I learned to take care of myself because no one else would. And now, when I finally have something that's mine, she can't even let me have that day without making it about her. I stared at her, speechless. Are you serious right now? You took my wedding date. Stop it, Lori, she snapped, wiping her tears. Just stop pretending to be the victim. You've been the center of attention since you were born. Mom suddenly stood up, crying. That's not true, Maddie. I love both of you. Do you? Maddie shouted. Then why did you always choose her? Mom covered her face and ran out of the room. Dad followed her with a heavy sigh, muttering something under his breath. Maddie stayed sitting on the couch, sobbing quietly now, shoulders trembling. No one looked at me. No one said a word to me. I stood there in the middle of the room, watching them all, my family, lost in the same pattern they'd always been in. Maddie crying, Mom breaking, Dad patching things up, and me, invisible. I waited for someone to say something, anything, but no one did. So I walked to the door, grabbed my coat, and left. No one even noticed. When I got home, I sat in the dark for a long time. The silence felt different that night, heavier, but somehow freeing. That was the moment I stopped waiting for anyone to choose me. If my parents wanted to come to my wedding, they would. If they didn't, fine. My wedding would happen on September 14th, with or without them. The morning of September 14th arrived wrapped in golden light. It was the kind of morning I'd always imagined: clear skies, warm air, the first touch of autumn painting the trees. The world looked exactly how I wanted it to look. But inside, I didn't feel ready. I woke up early, long before anyone else. My dress hung by the window, catching the sunlight. The lace shimmered softly, delicate, perfect. It should have made me smile. Instead, I just stared at it, feeling that hollow ache again. 2 months had passed since the intervention. Maddie hadn't spoken to me since that night. My parents hadn't said much either. Every call I made ended with polite distance. We're just so busy, darling, or don't worry, everything will work out. And now, on the morning of my wedding, I still didn't know if they were coming. I checked my phone again. Nothing. The makeup artist arrived, then the florist, then my 2 closest friends, Emma and Claire. They brought laughter, noise, life into the quiet house. Lori, you look like you're about to faint, Emma said, placing her hands on my shoulders. I'm fine, I lied. Just nervous. Jordan's mother sent flowers, white lilies, my favorite. His sister texted saying the family was already waiting at the venue. Everyone was excited, everyone but me. Then, an hour before the ceremony, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Mom. Darling, we'll come a bit later. See you in the restaurant. I read it twice. My throat tightened. Later meant after. After the vows, after the photos, after the moment I'd imagined them sitting in the front row, smiling at me as I walked down the aisle. They weren't coming to the ceremony. I turned off the screen and stared at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes were already shiny, and the makeup artist quietly handed me a tissue. It's your day, Claire whispered. Don't let anyone ruin it. She was right. I took a deep breath, fixed my veil, and forced a smile. When I stepped outside, the air smelled like roses and grass. The small garden venue looked beautiful, simple, intimate, the way I'd always wanted. A handful of my closest friends were there, and all of Jordan's family. When I saw him waiting for me at the altar, everything else disappeared for a moment. He looked nervous, emotional, and so deeply kind. "Hi," I whispered when I reached him. "Hi," he said, his voice cracking just slightly. The ceremony was small and warm. I barely remember the words the officiant said, just Jordan's eyes and the way he squeezed my hands when I started to tear up. When he said, "I do," I knew I was safe, even if everything else around me wasn't. People clapped, cheered, threw rose petals. I smiled, laughed, hugged everyone, the perfect bride in the perfect moment. But deep down, I felt the emptiness where my parents should have been. After the photos, Jordan opened the limo door for me. "You okay?" he asked softly. I nodded. "I am now." We got in, and as the car started moving toward the restaurant, I leaned my head against his shoulder. The radio played something soft, almost romantic. I thought, maybe I can still save this day. Then my phone rang. It was Mom. I hesitated before answering. "Hi, Mom." "Oh, sweetheart," she said, cheerful and breathless. "We're so sorry we couldn't make the ceremony. We're on our way now. Don't worry, we'll see you soon." There was noise in the background. Laughter, clapping, and then music. Familiar music. I froze. "Mom," I said slowly, "is that—" "Oh, yes," she said, her voice glowing with excitement. "Remember you used to love this band when you were a teenager? Maddie never liked them, but it seems your tastes are finally the same. Isn't it funny?" The world went silent. I couldn't breathe for a moment. I didn't even need to ask which band. I knew. The one I dreamed of having at my wedding. The one that had canceled on me 3 months ago. I closed my eyes. "You're at Maddie's wedding, aren't you?" There was a pause. Then Mom's voice softened, almost guilty. "We'll be there soon, darling. Promise. Don't make a fuss, okay? It's just the beginning. We'll come after the dinner here." I hung up. The car was quiet except for the hum of the road beneath us. Jordan looked at me, his jaw tightening when he saw my face. "What happened?" I tried to answer, but no words came out. Just one tear slipped down my cheek. He didn't press. He just reached over, took my hand, and held it tightly. For the rest of the ride, I stared out the window, watching the city blur by. In my head, I imagined it. Maddie's wedding, the laughter, the music I'd dreamed of, the dance I'd pictured since I was 16. My parents smiling, clapping, pretending everything was fine. And me, somewhere else, dressed in white, pretending the same. For a moment, I pictured myself bursting into her wedding hall, walking straight to the stage, stopping the music mid-song. I imagined pouring champagne over her perfect dress, ruining the cake, shouting everything I'd held in for months. The image felt powerful, satisfying, but it wasn't real, because even in my anger, I knew if I let her ruin this day too, she'd win completely. So I sat up, wiped my face, and said quietly, "I'm fine, let's enjoy the evening." Jordan looked at me for a long time, then nodded. "That's my girl." When we arrived at the restaurant, everyone clapped again. My friends cheered, raised glasses, toasted to us. Cameras flashed. For a while I managed to smile. I danced, laughed, even joked. But every now and then I'd turn away, just enough to hide the tears that wouldn't stop coming. All night long, I pretended to be the happiest woman in the world, because that's what everyone expected me to be. But the truth was, I'd never felt more alone. And when I looked at Jordan, at the one person who truly stayed beside me, I silently promised myself something, that no matter what Maddie took from me, no matter how many times my parents chose her, I wouldn't let this love break. Because even if my wedding wasn't perfect, my heart was still mine. We went to the Maldives for our honeymoon. It felt like stepping into another world, the kind that doesn't belong to real life. White sand that glowed like sugar, water so clear it looked unreal, and silence, peaceful, endless silence. Jordan said we were leaving everything behind for 2 weeks. No calls, no messages, no reminders of what waited for us at home. "Just you and me," he said as he switched off our phones right after takeoff. And for the first time in months, I let myself breathe. We swam under the stars, ate dinner barefoot in the sand, and fell asleep every night to the sound of waves. Jordan did everything he could to make me forget. Small surprises, laughter, gentle jokes about how he could now finally call me Mrs. Walker. He never once mentioned Maddie, not even her name. It was our little world, just ours. By the time the honeymoon ended, I felt lighter, not healed, just quieter inside. But peace has a way of ending quickly. When we landed back home, I was still holding Jordan's hand as we walked through the arrivals gate, laughing about how sunburned he'd gotten. I didn't notice them at first, not until I heard my name. "Lori!" I turned. Maddie was standing right in front of us, Cody beside her, pale and tense. Her hair was a mess, mascara smudged, eyes wild. My smile faded. "What are you doing here? How did you even know?" I didn't finish. Maddie marched forward, eyes locked on Jordan. "You promised Cody you'd pay off all the checks. You didn't, and now we have problems." The noise of the airport disappeared. It was like we were standing alone in a glass box. Jordan's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. "Hello to you too, Maddie." She ignored him. "Do you understand what you've done? The vendors are threatening to sue us. The bank's calling every day. We're drowning. You said you'd take care of it." Cody looked exhausted. "Jordan, man, I'm sorry. I didn't think it would turn into this." Jordan looked at him steadily. "I told you I never break my promises, Cody, but this time I made an exception." Maddie's mouth fell open. "What?" He stepped closer, his tone even. "I was ready to help you, to pay the bills, to give you 5 years to pay it back. But then you decided to ruin Lori's wedding. You made sure her band was gone, that her date was gone, that her parents missed her ceremony." Her face twisted. "That has nothing to do with this." "It has everything to do with this," Jordan said quietly. "You wanted to take everything from her, so now you can see what that feels like." Maddie's voice rose, frantic. "You can't just change your mind like that. We're in debt, Jordan. The florist's threatening legal action. We don't even have money for rent." Jordan looked at Cody. "You could have stopped her." Cody opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He looked at the floor, shame flickering across his face. "Jordan, please," he said finally, voice low. "Don't punish both of us for what she did. I thought you'd keep your word." Jordan's eyes softened slightly, but his answer stayed firm. "I keep my word to people who keep theirs." For a moment, none of us spoke. Maddie's breathing was uneven. She looked on the verge of collapse. "Do you even understand what you're doing to us?" she whispered. "You're destroying us." Jordan didn't respond. He took my hand instead. "Let's go, Lori." Maddie's voice followed us through the echoing hall. "You can't walk away. You can't just—" But he didn't stop, and neither did I. We stepped outside into the cool air, the noise of the city swallowing her words. In the car, I sat quietly for a long time, watching the lights blur past the window. Finally, I turned to Jordan. "Maybe we can help them. Just a little." He looked at me gently but firmly. "Cody could have stopped her, Lori. He didn't. Let him pay now." I nodded slowly. I didn't argue. But a small ache stayed in my chest, because even if she deserved everything that came her way, even if she'd brought it on herself, I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't victory. It was just another loss. And this time, it didn't even feel good to win. A year has passed since that day at the airport. Sometimes it feels like a lifetime ago, like everything that happened belongs to someone else's story. I'm sitting on the balcony now, wrapped in a soft blanket, one hand resting on my belly. The baby kicks gently, as if reminding me they're here, alive, safe, loved. Jordan smiles every time he feels it. He's already painted the nursery himself, light cream walls with soft blue edges. He talks to our baby every night before we sleep, whispering promises I know he'll keep. For the first time in a long time, my world feels peaceful. Not perfect, just quiet. Maddie's world, on the other hand, fell apart. The marriage didn't survive the debt, the arguments, the disappointment. I heard through our mother first. "They're separating," she said softly, like it was a secret she didn't know how to hold. Apparently, Maddie blamed everyone in turns. First Jordan, for betraying them. Then me, for making her look bad. And finally, Cody, for not being strong enough. The truth is, she never learned that love isn't a prize you win by being right. It's something you build, slowly, with kindness and honesty. Two things she's never been able to hold for long. I don't hate her anymore. I don't even wish her pain. If anything, I wish her peace. Because I know now, jealousy isn't strength. It's just loneliness in disguise. My parents still call sometimes. Mom sends photos of flowers from her garden, little updates about their weekend trips, recipes she thinks I'll like. I answer, I smile, I say thank you. But the closeness we once had, it's gone. They never apologized. Not really. They said things like, "We didn't know how bad it was," or "You know how your sister can be." Excuses. Maybe one day I'll forgive them. But forgiveness, I've learned, isn't about pretending it never hurt. It's about choosing not to let it hurt anymore. So I keep my distance. And maybe that's what healing looks like. Not dramatic, not loud, just quiet acceptance that some people love you the only way they know how, even if it isn't the way you need. Sometimes, late at night, I still think about that September day. About the girl who dreamed of a perfect wedding, and how everything she planned fell apart, only for something far better to grow from the ruins. Because my wedding wasn't perfect, but my marriage is honest, calm, and real, and maybe that's all I ever needed. When the baby kicks again, I smile. I whisper softly, "You'll never have to fight for love, little one. You'll just have it." And as the morning light spills across our balcony, I finally feel it. Not revenge, not victory, just peace.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and explore our channel for more love, betrayal, and redemption tales.